Hi everybody, and welcome to our Studying in Canada presentation. I'm the social media specialist. I'm Karen here at Study in Canada. I'm joined today by my colleagues here in the office at Study in Canada, and also some exciting news. We do have a speaker from CultureWorks and a student panelist on board as well. All right, so let's start off by saying a little bit about Study in Canada. Basically, we're part of a company called Edge Interactive, and we've been helping students find schools, scholarships, and careers for more than 15 years. And you may have noticed some of the other websites that are part of our group, so we will be covering some of that later on in our presentation. Okay. And here's a little bit about me. I'm basically a first-generation Chinese Canadian. My parents are immigrants from Hong Kong, but I was born and raised here in Canada, and I'm the first in my family to attend university, so that's very exciting. I enjoy a lot of reading and writing and learning new languages, so I've traveled a bit, and I always like to learn, what the local language is all about. And one of the things I love about Canada is the multiculturalism here. And I'll be talking more about Canada later on in the presentation. But now I'm going to pass it on to Ian, who will also be presenting as well.
Hi, everyone. As Karen mentioned, my name is Ian, and I'm also part of the Study in Canada team. Just to introduce myself briefly, I'm actually originated from the Philippines, moved here to Canada when I was about 6 years old, just recently graduated from the University of Waterloo. But love the Toronto lifestyle. Even after 15 years or so of being here, I can tell you that the Toronto winters don't get any easier for me. I guess it's just the tropical blood in me that doesn't get used to the cold.
Hi everyone, my name is Faiza. I'm also part of the Study in Canada team. I actually spent the majority of my life across the pond, so not here in Canada. I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia, and I'm originally from Bangladesh. And I spent 5 years in the UK, where I went to Oxford University. I've been in Canada for the past 2 years, and I love meeting all our domestic students and hearing about the Canadian education system. And even after 2 years, I still use a lot of words that you would use in the UK and not over here.
And we love making fun of Pfizer for that. All right.
I'm now going to pass it over to Deb, who is one of our panelists. So as part of our presentation, you have not only our team here at Study in Canada, but we have Deb from CultureWorks and Ali, who is a student panelist. So they're just going to introduce themselves now.
Hi everyone, my name is Deb and I'm at CultureWorks, which is a EAP school in 2 locations in Ontario, one in London, one in Oshawa. I love to travel, I love everything about culture, and as they say in my bio, I particularly love to see students make the right choices for them that make them successful students, and that's what EAP schools should be all about.
Hi everyone, my name is Ali, and I came to Canada just a year ago, and I'm studying at Centennial College doing business finance, and I love it here. I love the freedom. I love to make my own decisions. I live by myself, and that's a great experience.
Okay, thank you, Deb and Ali. So for those of you who have just joined us for the presentation, thank you for making it out today. We will be covering these following topics in our presentation. First, we'll be talking about Canada, and afterwards about how to choose your programs and your prerequisites, as well as cost and scholarship opportunities, visas and permits, English language requirements, student life, and job prospects. All right, so here's a little bit about Canada. Very exciting that Canada is the 2nd largest country in the world. We're right behind Russia. And we also have 10 provinces and 3 territories in Canada. So as some of you may have noticed, Canada is very large, and we have 6 different time zones. Currently in Toronto, we are in Eastern Standard Time. So you may have noticed that when you signed up for this presentation, that it may not be the same time zone as your current location. Also, 9% of Canada's freshwater. We have Great Lakes in Canada, as well as we are, again, one of the most diverse countries with 34 million people and 220 ethnic backgrounds. So if you can imagine some of the different languages you can hear, just simply walking down the streets, I can speak for basically in downtown Toronto, where our office is located. You can hear many different languages on the street, in the public transportation, on the buses, and that's very interesting. And maybe you haven't been to Canada yet and you're thinking about it, but it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. You can basically do a e-tour, a campus tour online, look at videos of schools on YouTube, or even just visit by going to Google Earth. Okay, so in terms of climate, many of you may have heard that Canada is very cold. And right now we are in winter, so the temperatures do go below 0, and often there's ice and snow on the floor. So that's something you may not have seen before, and it's something special about Canada. But Canada is not all seasons of cold and snow. We also have summers as well. So it does get pretty warm in the summers, and this varies in different parts of Canada. Now in Vancouver and basically parts of British Columbia, that's on the west coast of Canada, the temperatures are a bit more moderate. So if you like to avoid the cold a little bit, perhaps that's somewhere you would like to go. But still, Canada is very well known for our cold winters, and we do have fun activities in the winter, like skiing and ice skating. We love hockey, and drinking hot chocolate is a great way to beat the cold. Okay, and if you are an international student, you may have thought, how will you pay for some of your fees? So basically, in terms of the exchange rate, Canada, 1 Canadian dollar is equal to roughly about 1 US dollar. So if you go back and look at the exchange rate for your country, perhaps that will give you a better idea of how much an education, or rather items in Canada, how much that would cost. And we have 5 main banks in Canada, and being the 11th largest world economy, you can tell that the standard of living in Canada is very high. Our healthcare system is great, and if you are an international student, you may be required to get medical insurance before you arrive in Canada. That may be part of your visa requirements, and we will be talking about visas and permits later in the presentation. Okay, so we've talked about a little bit about the geography of Canada, something about the banking system, but we can also talk about culture. So as I mentioned before, the multiculturalism in Canada is one of my favorite parts about this country. And even though I've been born and raised here, a lot of these things are still very meaningful to me. When I do travel and I look back, these are some of the things I miss about Canada. So we have 2 official languages in Canada, English and French. As I mentioned before, one of our favorite sports is hockey. Also, there are certain national foods that are part of the Canadian landscape. And in terms of famous Canadians, well, we have a list here. We have Justin Bieber, Shania Twain, Rachel McAdams, and even Alexander Graham Bell. Okay, so about the Canadian education system. So some of you may like to know about how the education system works in Canada. So here's a brief overview. So from elementary, middle, and secondary school, students start off in kindergarten and then afterwards go into middle or high school and end off in grade 12. And after grade 12, they would go to post-secondary education. So that would be college, university, and maybe afterwards graduate school. So what exactly is the difference between college and university? Now for college, this is in Canada, this is where you would get a diploma. And generally a diploma program would last somewhere between 2 years and perhaps 1 to 2 years if you're doing a certificate program. University, on the other hand, generally takes between 3 to 4 years for your bachelor's degree. If you decide to take co-op, that adds an extra year to your study. So that would be 5 years of study for the co-op program. Now, if you have already received a degree, In your country, perhaps you would like to apply for a graduate degree, so that would be a master's or doctorate degree, and that is the next step in the education system. Okay, so with college diplomas, these courses tend to be a bit more technical in nature. So when you go to college and you receive your diploma, you may be going for something like a dental hygienist, a technologist, anything very hands-on. That may be something you're interested in. In terms of university, it's a little bit more academic. And in that case, for the 3 or 4 years you are in university, you'll be receiving a bachelor's degree. It's a much more academic program, which means that it's a lot less hands-on. You're sitting in lectures a lot and doing a lot of reading. You do a lot of reading in college as well, but if you're getting more practical experience in college versus university. Now, with the Canadian education system, there are many diploma and bachelor degrees offered with a co-op option, and this allows you to work during the school year. So as an international student, a co-op program may be of interest to you because it allows you to work during the year. You may require a certain specific visa in order to access this particular option, but again, we will be covering that later on in our presentation. Okay. So in Canada, and on the Study in Canada website, we do have a number of universities, colleges, career colleges, and graduate schools on our system. We have 182 universities, 219 colleges, and 1,164 career colleges. If you're interested in graduate schools, there are 231, and also 33,000 diploma, bachelor, master's, and doctorate programs. So there's a lot of variety and a lot of information out there for you, and we are offering this service in order to inform you so you can make choices that are informed and right for you. And for Canada, we do have 4 top schools in the top 100, those being McGill, U of T, UBC, and University of Alberta.